the actual purpose of tort law? Today we're going to be diving into F2 to simplify the world of civil liability. So let's just get straight into it.
So, what is the actual purpose of tort law? It's not the most simple question in the world. We're going to look at it in some detail. So, tort law sets boundaries of acceptable behaviour, essentially how we should treat one another, and it provides remedies for when those boundaries are crossed, with the aim of deterring harm caused to others through the provision of consequences. The aims of tort law also include redistributing losses fairly and upholding societal standards. So tort law aims to protect people like Jade who suffer harms that are not their fault. And there are different ways that the rules of tort law go about achieving this goal, but tort rules carry 3 interlinked traits, which we're going to look at in a bit of detail now. And our first one is the normative aspect of tort law. So normative rules are rules that describe a standard of acceptable behaviour. So in tort law, the way that this works is that in deciding liability in a tort case, courts will assess both the claimant and the defendant's conduct, and they will make value judgments about what society requires, with the goal of balancing competing interests and responsibilities to ensure that justice is delivered. So, in Jade's oil patch case, it's likely that a judge is going to weigh up whether it would be worth it for the garage to be putting up a sign versus its duty to warn people about dangers. And then we're going to be thinking about whether we want to impose that kind of duty upon garages across the country and whether it's worth doing that, especially looking at the harm caused to Jade and weighing up the proportionality of that. Does Jade's desire to not slip in an oil patch outweigh the general desire for garages to not be sued unnecessarily? This all kind of comes from the neighbour principle in Donoghue and Stevenson. So in Donoghue and Stevenson, we had Lord Atkin, who created the neighbour principle, which was essentially a public declaration that people owe a duty of care to those around them who might reasonably be affected by their actions. And this is a description of a standard of behaviour. Don't worry too much if that doesn't make that much sense right now. We will come back and look at Donoghue and Stevenson in a lot more detail in our chapter on negligence. So that's the normative aspect. Then we have the compensatory aspect of tort law. So most tort claims hinge on being able to prove damage, which is normally financial, which has been suffered by victims. And they're going to seek to recover that financial damage. But damages can extend beyond just compensating someone for financial loss, as claimants can be compensated for pain and suffering caused by what's happened to them. This happens where it's relevant, but the key aim is to ensure that claimants are compensated for the harm they suffered in this effort to right the wrong and make a victim kind of whole again, is the idea there. And then, of course, we have retribution or corrective justice. So there's a little bit of an overlap with criminal law here, in sort of insisting that wrongdoers repair the harm that they have caused. So while tort law can't generally impose prison sentences, it can kind of in gross negligence law, but we're not going to look at that right now, so we wouldn't worry too much about it. They can also control future conduct via injunctions, and they can ensure that wrongdoers pay for their actions through damages. So for example, as we've talked about lots of times, that could be something like Jade's injunction. So those are the kind of purposes of tort law. This is our summary of that. So we've got normative, which is describing that standard of acceptable behaviour in society. We've got the compensatory aim, so compensating claimants for harm or loss suffered, and that retributive or corrective aim, so ensuring that wrongdoers are repairing the harm that they have caused.
Hopefully now you feel a bit more confident about what the purpose of tort law is. That video is just one of many. We've got a whole host of CILEX foundation level videos on our website that's available to any of the students who are studying with us. If you are interested in the foundation course for CILEX, check our website, the link will be in the bio, to find out some more information. Or if you're already studying through CILEX, we have some free mocks that are available to any foundation level students. Again, the link will be in the bio so you can check that out. I hope this was all helpful and I'll see you in the next video.